Hello everybody. So this is going to be the second video. I'm going to provide an update to my plugin. I've made quite a few changes since the first video, so I thought I'd make a second video to better explain all the changes I've made. I also tried to give an example workflow so that I just get a better idea of like why I've made the design decisions that I wanted to. Let me again repeat some of the stuff I said in my first video. I did change some of the text that's being displayed on this, but everything else is pretty much or mostly the same. So again, the way I have these numbers assigned is the first number represents the channel in the channel rack that's selected. And then the second number is the pattern number that's selected. The text on the top shows the instrument name, and the text on the bottom shows the pattern name. So if you create a new pattern, it's just going to default to pattern 1, pattern 2, pattern 3, and there's a button to do that here. I've also used the label maker so that it looks a little bit better. So here I've added labels for what my buttons are going to be. So it's going to be solo, mute. This button is going to be a new pattern, and holding it will clone the active pattern. This will go up in the pattern list, and that'll go down in the pattern list. This button will toggle between the SOM mode and pattern mode. This is to start a time selection, which is punch in. Punch out is to set the end time marker for like a selection, and pushing this a second time will clear your selection. Metro is to toggle the metronome, and this undo redo button, pressing undo will undo the last step, and pressing it again will redo it. And also, if you really don't like your pattern, you can hold the undo button to basically clear out the pattern. I find this pretty useful because I mess up quite a few times. And so just also to give a basic understanding of the navigation, so this button will control essentially whatever is active, and you can there are navigation modes, and you can toggle the navigation mode by pressing the left and right keys. So right now it's selecting the active pattern. We also have the active channel, and you can turn it to change the channel. To select the channel in the channel rack, you could also push these buttons, but these are only limited to 8 buttons. And so this provides a nice way to switch to channels in case you have more than 8 channels. And then similarly, the pattern, you can select it from this dial. You can also use this up-down to select the pattern as well. Okay. What else is there in the navigation knob? Let me see. Okay. We can also select the volume. So we can set the volume. We can set the panning. Positive is the right side, and the negative is the left channel, or sorry, left side of panning. You can also alter the pitch. You can also, if you have a window open, the time marker basically lets you set where the time is active. And this is nice particularly for doing things like you want to set a specific location, and you can select it with punch in for the beginning, and then move to the end and select punch out for the end. And then what happens is if you're actually looking at a pattern, you can click on new pattern, and it'll actually copy the selection into the new pattern. So make sure if you don't want to copy a selection, you press punch out again to undo the selection. And I'll go over this again in a workflow. And finally, like if you're in an active pattern and you really like and you want to add more stuff to it, you can hold down this new pattern button, and then the display will update, showing that you've cloned the active pattern. So it's nice to have because you might be doing things like creating like a drum beat, and then you want to add more complicated beats on top of that, but as a new pattern. And the old way I was doing this was I would record a drum beat or record like a sequence of notes that I've played. Then I'd have to go back to computer and then manually clone it. So I find that just using the hold down button is nice. And if you mess up your pattern, you don't like it, just hold hold down the undo button, and it'll clear it. And then finally, these knobs, they will control the well, depending on what light is on. So right now, the top light is on, which means that it is set to, like, these knobs and sliders will control the active channels plugin. And if it's glowing on the bottom, then it's going to control the mixer panel. So to toggle between the two modes is you hold this button down, and then you'll see that it switches to mixer panel. So now I can control the mixer panel that adjusts the volume for track 1, the volume for track 2, the volume for track 3. And these knobs will adjust the panning for track 1, track 2, and track 3. If you do want to change, so pressing this button will change the page. It will cycle through the pages for the knobs. And I'll show you what I mean by this. So right now, this is controlling the panning. But let's say we want to control stereo separation instead for the mixer panel. Then you press that. Oops, yeah, it's on map 2. Now it's controlling the stereo separation. And let's go back to plugin. So right now I am on channel 2. This isn't a plugin, so I can't really control anything in here. So these right now are no op. But if you select a channel where we have an actual plugin, so here I have Flex plugin selected. I've already pre-selected an instrument. That way I don't waste my time trying to scroll through this and find a good instrument. But we can set the the sliders in here. So this is the equalization sliders. This will adjust the knobs in the plugin as well. And again, you can cycle through the different parameters by for the knobs by pressing the top. So here's page 2, page 3. I'm probably going to mess up the instrument sound, but I'll reset it. Page 4, page 5, right? And they all work. And then the sliders, they also have, actually, they only just have one page. And it's, for now, it's the equalization, the chorus, the tremolo, the trem rate. And so that's that. Let's see what else I'm missing. Oh, let me reset my, let me reset the instrument preset. Okay. One other thing I forgot to mention is if you want to set your what mixer track the channel is linked to, you can do it from here as well. Oh, my computer just fell asleep. Okay. And so now it's set to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if you had the window open, you'll actually see the track getting moved around. So that's a nice thing. Okay. So as for the workflow, so the goal of this workflow is basically, you've set everything up in terms of the channels that you would like already on your computer. So right now I've already, before I started this video, I've gone ahead and added 4 Flex plugin channels, and then I can configure and play around with it here. So right now, for this track, I have the guitar, I have a piano on another, full winds, and the last one, a viola. And we can actually change, the sound quality of the plugin itself. So here's a viola. I think this is the beat pump. So it gives us nice beat noise. And so I can start and play something I like. And if I want to play something, so right now I'm pattern 1, so I'll go ahead and record something. And I will, I don't want looping on, I want to be in pattern mode, so that's off, so it's in pattern mode. And I'll go ahead and record, and I'll hit play. and we can play it back. So there's a gap in the beginning. And what I can do is I can try to punch at the gap. Oops. Okay, I missed it. So the punch in, punch out lights will glow when I've made a selection. And I can copy this selection to a new pattern by pressing this button. There is a bug currently, which is that there may be a bit of space padding in the beginning when you create a new pattern. This is actually an API bug that I still haven't figured out a workaround for, so you may need to go back to your computer to delete out that space in the beginning. So that'll create a new pattern. So now we're on pattern 2, and it'll just consist of this pattern that I played, and there might be a little bit of gap at the beginning. So that's one thing. The other thing you can do is, let's say I don't like this, so I'll just clear it out. Let me try to make a better version without the space at the beginning. And I have it set to pre-count in at the beginning. Oops. Okay, recording in loop mode. Let me do that again. Okay, so, we can go back and edit this. Also, the other thing is, if you want to do like live looping, you can easily punch in and punch out the notes you're interested in. So for now, I'll just do a bit of improvisation here. And, oops. Okay. So now the thing is I have this looping on a pattern, and I can test out some ideas. So if I wanted to add a violin to this, maybe I don't like the sound. Let's see. Okay, so that's just to give you an idea. The other thing you can do is, and this part will require the use of a computer, is sometimes, for example, let's say I want to create a new pattern and I don't want to use the existing channels that are being played on. So what I would have to do is I'd go back to my computer, and for the channel that was created, I'd have to, sorry, for the pattern that was created, I'd have to basically paint, a whole track with just that pattern, so that's looping over and over again. And then what I would do is I'd go to song pattern mode, I would turn on the looping, and then I would start recording but with a new track. And what that'll let me do is it'll let me record to a new track like a different channel that I'm interested in, and then I wouldn't have to worry about you know, like needing to go back and copy and paste out that channel that I've created. So it's going to be a little bit difficult to do here. So you know, I can do this on my computer. Actually, I'll just do that right now. I'll create a track, and I'll just paint, you know, what I had as a channel. Okay, and then what? And the thing is the loop, it's going to have a gap because of that gap bug that exists. So right now, let's you know, I'll play this right now. So it's in song mode, and this is going to keep replaying over and over again. But I can record to new pattern now. Oops. Okay, so that's just to give you an idea. This is kind of a rough sketch, but you know, we can go back and clean it up in the FL Studio later on computer. So let's see, is there anything else that I'm missing? So, you know, you can change the color here. I'm not sure if it's that useful, but you know, just in case it's useful. Plugin presets you can still set. And oh, finally, you know, now that we have like a playable song, we can actually mix it now. So we can adjust, well, first I'd have to go to each of these and make sure they have the, you know, the target track set. So this one I want to set to 6, and that one to 7, this one to 8, that one to 9. Oh, okay, 8. Okay, and now what happens is, you know, now that we have this mixer light indication on, we can actually set the, you know, the levels of the song, and then we can actually play it back and see, you know, if we like it or not. We can also, you know, change the panning. Oops. Okay, I'm in song mode. So let's see, this is track 7. Oops. Okay, a little bit too loud. And the second part is, oh, track 8. Okay. Okay, well anyway, I'm not good at mixing yet, but it's just to give you an idea of this, of the features in here. So this video is running a little bit long, so I apologize, but hopefully it gives you a good idea of what you can do with this. And if you want to watch the first video, maybe I covered stuff in there that I didn't in here. But anyway, let me know what your thoughts are, if I should add anything else. You know, feel free to leave a comment. Otherwise, the only other thing I'm thinking of adding is, you know, the presets, you know, updating the presets for non-flex plugins. So these knobs do work for the other plugins. It's just that they're really disorganized, because what I'm doing is I'm just iterating from 1 through, you know, whatever them, I think 9 times 8 pages, so 72. So I'm mapping IDs 1 through 72 to these knobs. And what happens is if you open a random plugin, you know, knob 1 might not be assigned to anything for page 1. And then page 2, it'll control the filter cutoff. And then, you know, it'll do another filter one, but on a different page. And so it just gets really messy. And so for Flex, I've laid it out so that if you look at the plugin itself, they have these nice grouping of knobs and sliders, and I've organized it here. But if I don't have a mapping already, which, you know, pretty much anything that's not Flex, there won't be a mapping for that. It'll just be a random mapping, and so you'll have to go through all the pages and sort through this. It's still adjustable, it's just really messy. So yeah, if you have any comments, feel free to leave comments. Let me know like if you have another favorite plugin that I should try mapping out. Mapping is pretty easy. I do have the FL Studio all plugins version, so anything in FL Studio that you want me to map out, I can go ahead and do that. I also have the Piano 5 and Analog Lab. I could also try working on mapping those out. But yeah, let me know if you have any questions in the comments. Otherwise, hope you enjoy. All right.